The rise and fall of the Hittite Empire, a forgotten power of the ancient world. When we think of the great civilizations of the ancient world, names like Egypt, Mesopotamia, Greece, and Rome usually dominate the conversation. However, nestled in the heart of Anatolia, a powerful yet often overlooked empire once stood tall, the Hittite Empire. Known for their military innovations, advanced administration, and impressive diplomacy, the Hittites played a central role in shaping the ancient Near East. In this presentation, we'll explore the rise and eventual fall of this fascinating empire, analyzing its origins, expansion, golden age, internal struggles, and the dramatic collapse that left its mark on history. By the end, you'll understand why the Hittite story is not just important to historians but also to anyone who seeks to understand the complexities of civilization, power, and legacy. The Hittites emerged around 1700 BCE in what is now modern-day Turkey, in the central Anatolian region. They were an Indo-European people who settled in the area and gradually absorbed the local Hattian culture, from which they adopted the name, Hatti, for their kingdom, despite their own foreign linguistic roots. Their early capital was at Nesha, also known as Kanesh, a major trade hub. But the true seat of Hittite power would later be established at Hattusa, a city strategically located near modern Boghazköy. Through both diplomacy and conquest, the early Hittite kings began to carve out a domain that would soon rival those of Egypt and Babylon. Military innovation. The power of the chariot. One of the Hittites' most notable contributions to ancient warfare was their chariot technology. Unlike their contemporaries who used lighter chariots pulled by two horses, the Hittites developed three-man chariots, with a driver, a shield-bearer, and an archer. These chariots were heavier and more stable, offering tactical advantages on the battlefield. This innovation played a significant role in their ability to conquer and control a vast territory stretching from western Anatolia to the borders of Mesopotamia and down into northern Syria. Diplomatic sophistication. The Hittites were not just warriors, they were also master diplomats. They forged treaties, alliances, and truces with rival states and often used marriage diplomacy to solidify political ties. Perhaps the most famous example is the Treaty of Kadesh, signed with Pharaoh Ramses II of Egypt in 1259 BCE. This is the earliest known surviving international peace treaty in history. It was inscribed on stone tablets and even displayed in the United Nations building in New York as a symbol of early diplomacy. A multi-ethnic bureaucracy. One of the reasons the Hittite Empire was able to govern such a large and diverse territory was its sophisticated administrative system. They implemented a decentralized structure with vassal kings and local rulers under Hittite oversight. This allowed them to maintain control without direct military occupation in all regions. Their legal codes were advanced for their time, emphasizing fairness and proportional punishment rather than the brutal retribution common in other ancient systems. The apex, the reign of Superpower I. The greatest expansion of Hittite power occurred during the reign of Superpower I, circa 1350–1322 BCE. He reformed the army, stabilized the interior, and waged successful campaigns in Syria, wresting control of key cities like Aleppo and Kadesh from the Mitanni. Superpower also managed foreign relations with finesse. One of the most remarkable diplomatic events occurred when the widow of an Egyptian pharaoh, likely Tutankhamun, wrote to Superpower requesting a Hittite prince to marry, effectively offering him the Egyptian throne. Though the prince was sent, he was killed en route, marking a tragic end to an extraordinary moment in diplomatic history. Challenges and decline. Despite their many achievements, the Hittites faced mounting challenges in the 13th century BCE. These included internal strife and succession disputes, which weakened central authority. Economic strain due to prolonged warfare and reliance on distant vassals. Natural disasters, particularly food shortages caused by poor harvests and possible climatic changes. Plagues and disease. A major epidemic during the reign of Superpower I severely weakened the population and leadership. Invasions by the Sea Peoples, a mysterious group that wreaked havoc across the eastern Mediterranean and is thought to have played a major role in the Late Bronze Age collapse. These factors combined to create a perfect storm that the Hittite state could not withstand. The fall of Hattusa. The capital city of Hattusa, once a thriving and majestic urban center, was violently destroyed around 1200 BCE. Archaeological evidence suggests that the city was abandoned and burned, possibly by invaders or during internal revolt. Unlike some cities that were rebuilt, Hattusa was never fully reoccupied. With the fall of Hattusa, the Hittite Empire ceased to exist as a central power, though Neo-Hittite states survived in parts of Syria and southeastern Anatolia for centuries afterward, preserving some of the culture and language. Rediscovery and archaeological legacy. For many centuries, the Hittites were forgotten, even dismissed as myth. They were mentioned in the Bible, but no one had solid evidence of their existence until the 19th century, when inscriptions and ruins began to emerge in modern-day Turkey. The decipherment of cuneiform tablets from Hattusa in the 20th century opened a new chapter in our understanding of the ancient Near East. Over 30,000 tablets have been recovered, documenting laws, treaties, religious practices, and daily life. These discoveries revealed a highly organized, literate, and cosmopolitan society that rivaled any of its contemporaries. Lessons from the Hittite collapse. The fall of the Hittites is part of a broader phenomenon known as the Bronze Age collapse, which saw the simultaneous downfall of several major civilizations, including the Mycenaeans, Ugarit, and parts of Egypt. From this, we can draw valuable lessons. No civilization is immune to collapse, no matter how advanced or powerful. Complexity can be a vulnerability, especially